Hello, everyone, and we are here technically for an exit interview, but this is an out of the ordinary exit interview because Leah made it to the end. But
Yeah.
I wanted to catch up with the final three and let them talk about their experience and ask them questions. So, Leah, I think it's interesting because you technically didn't apply, I don't think, but your kids came the
Mhm.
past couple of years to camp and were able to experience camp, and I think before this season, you were truly the only one who got to experience it before even being asked to do this. So you had a different, unique perspective because your kids have gone to camp before. And so, yeah, so just tell us about all of your experience with the game and all that stuff.
Sure, sure. Well, just to start out, I am a huge Survivor fan. I've watched every season from season one, starting back in 2000. I've watched them all twice now fully, and that's a big commitment, 45 seasons. And I don't sit down to watch anything. So I listen to it on the go constantly, and I'm a working mom. So that's just how you have to roll. But I'm just a huge fan. And so when I found out about the camp, a friend had told me, hey, there's this fantastic camp in North Myrtle, Survivor. I was just all over it. And my kids were so excited because they've watched shows as well. And so we went that first year. And Shaw, you just did such a great job at the camp and putting this whole series on. And I mean, especially at your age, you were just doing things better than I've seen most adults do, and
Oh,
just running this program so good. And I just admired you like from the beginning. And I got to meet you there and got to know you a little bit. And, was just kind of asking, hey, if you guys need anything, whatnot. And you made a really nice comment. You're like, you're one of the few parents that's actually just been really nice. And I was like, dang, we got to treat you guys with respect, and you're caring for our kids, and you were just doing such an awesome job. And I think we got into a dialogue of, oh, are you a Survivor fan? And then I found out Jane was coming, and I was like, oh, if I can sneak in, I'm happy to bring you anything y'all might need or extra donuts or whatever. I'd love to come see Jane. And I got to see her, and that was just amazing. And to see the kids experience that, and not really know what an amazing moment that was really, really quite something. So that was pretty neat. And so seeing it from that point of view, I was just all in when you asked for, people to come in and help and volunteer and raise money. Absolutely, sign me up. What do you need? Tell me where you want me. I'm there.
oh, well, thank you. And, thank you for agreeing to compete. And, I think coming into this game, first season, I think we didn't really have as many super fans. It was just local people. But, that's how the first time of anything goes. So people were able to watch the episodes, and we were able to put a very diverse and interesting cast for season two. And, you were one of the first people I asked. So, let's talk about your experience when you made it out there in season two and how you felt going through the game.
Yeah, well, I think season two, we had a really unique advantage point being able to watch season one. And when everybody came on, I think people were a little nervous season one, like, how into this should I be, and kind of getting comfortable. And so I think that was a really big vantage point for us. And you selected a competitive bunch of people. And coming in, I mean, everyone just wanted to be there. They wanted to give it 100%. They wanted to raise money. They wanted to do it all. And I think it made it for a really, really good season. I think it made it fierce. I think we kind of went above and beyond what we saw previously, just kind of knowing what a little bit to expect. So I think that was really helpful for us, actually.
For sure. So let's talk. You kind of, I don't know if it was in your pre-game interview or if I was like reading messages in our group chat about pre-game alliances. And I know that was not really your thing, but talked about if you did happen to make any or touched base with anybody or anybody else's and how it affected the game.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to touch on this point because, initially when we started fundraising, I had mentioned in one of the interviews that, you had brought up, hey, you guys can make these pregame alliances just because you can't kind of stop it at that point. We know who's coming and who's playing, and many people knew each other. And my initial gut reaction was, you know what, this might be my only time I get to go out and play Survivor. Like I would throw myself down and go on Survivor tomorrow if I had the opportunity. So I said to myself, you know what, I'm going to treat this as if this is my once in a lifetime chance to play Survivor. And I wouldn't get that opportunity if I was going on a show. So I really want to walk into it natural and just give it my all. And I really wanted to go in like being myself. And then as we got to kind of know each other through like fundraising and some different things, I started thinking more strategically. and thinking, well, there's going to be people out there who are probably going to take advantage of this. So why would not? And I didn't love that. Like, I didn't like that thought. But then we went and did the Survivor North Myrtle Beach parade float. And on the float was, let's see, it was Wayne and Angela and Rachel. And so that was the first time I got to meet them. And everyone was very nice, but very quiet. Wayne was pretty chatty Cathy and, walking along the float with his really cute little puppy. Angela and Rachel were a little more quiet. So just trying to get to know them a little bit. And I threw out there of, hey, meeting you guys now. Never know. You can always throw out alliance. You always need numbers, one way or another. Threw it out very casually just to kind of throw it out and see if I caught anything. And they were both very quiet and didn't take to it. And so I kind of took that as, okay, maybe they have their own alliance. They just don't want to form an alliance. And that's great. That's fine. So I was like, okay, I'll leave it at that. And then I didn't do anything else. But the day or two before, I was like, you know what? I should do some things here and just hedge my bet to increase my odds a little bit more. What can I do? And I knew that we had a bunch of principals and teachers in the school, so they knew each other. So to me, as a huge Survivor fan, you look in and say, okay, we have 15 people here. If 4 of these people know each other, that's a big percentage. So I'm gonna kind of keep that in the back of my head. So I knew Donnie just from previously interactions. And so him and I had chatted a little bit, just hey, we're excited about this. But then a couple days before, I was like, well, we could just kind of keep an eye out for each other, even if we're on different tribes, and try to help each other out. And he's like, absolutely, I think that's great. And so kind of formed a little alliance, if you will. And then I thought to myself, hey, who else is out there that maybe no one is really connected with, and that I didn't know anyone else either. And I'm like, you know what? I think Victoria might not have quite the connections right here. So let me reach out to her. She's a mom. She has young kids. So do I. Let me just kind of reach out, put feelers, and maybe we could kind of, support each other if the time comes. So we just talked a little bit on Messenger, and we're like, hey, you know what? If I can help you out, I'll help you out, and vice versa. And with that, we shared some information about ourselves that came into play a little bit later, and did help me win an advantage to winning one of the challenges. So it worked well and was very helpful. And she ended up granting actually her extra money to me in the auction when she left. So that was helpful.
Absolutely. So, the first thing we do when the cameras start rolling is we took you out to the field, and me and Meredith put you in your tribes. So looking at your tribe at first glance, were you happy with yours, or would you have chosen another tribe?
Yeah, I love and I hate this question, I think. I love my tribe because I now got to know them. I wish Rachel stayed longer. I hated that we were the first ones to go. I can't express how hard that was. And I know people think, hey, you're a little crazy. You've known this person for an hour. I don't like making people feel bad. It's a really horrible feeling. And I really had a hard time with it. And I think you saw that on my face, every time we were at tribal. It was very uncomfortable, and I didn't enjoy that part at all. But being out there, knowing what I know now, I see advantages in every single person. I mean, getting to know James, incredibly strong player. Obviously, working with Derek, incredibly strong. Josh, man, he played such a game last minute, was so awesome. I was really excited to potentially work with Nicole, and I really tried to get that angle later on. Angela was a beast. She was my competition beast, and she would have been a great ally, but I knew she was very strong. So, I come to find that out later. But just everybody had just wonderful things about them that I would have loved to work with any of them. Even Johnny Fairplay, I would have given a shot. But he went down a different direction. So
Yeah. So without bringing up final tribal council, was there anything in any of the episodes that surprised you, maybe through confessionals or anything that stood out?
Yeah, we didn't know where some of the advantages went and kind of came from when people had passed them on when they were out of the game. So come to find those out, that was, surprising. Not getting into final council, I was so thrilled when Josh came on and said, hey, behind the scenes editing, there were a whole lot of pregame alliances, you liars out there. And there were. And it wasn't just this like made up thing. And it actually did exist. And I mean, common sense would tell you that that would exist. So I was glad to hear that, because I felt like I took some heat for that for whatever reason. I think I've got a little bit of the villain shade, and editing does a nice job of that, and that's their job, and that's fine. And I'm good with that. But I was glad that that came to fruition.
Yeah. So let's talk about the final challenge. Now, I thought of all of the challenges, this would be the one you win, because I know you have played with this challenge at camp before. You've been around it.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is Leah's challenge, if anything. So talk to me about your thoughts on that final challenge.
Yeah, you know what? Like, I totally went into this, and not to sound corny, but like building up to it, I was making sure I was working out, and I would do that naturally anyways, and just staying in good shape, because I just wanted to go in and not embarrass myself. It was really like my look at all these big guys in here. I'm a 40-year-old mom. I just wanted to like represent myself well. And I was very surprised at the challenges. I thought I could do the paddleboard decent, because I've done it a little bit before and I have decent balance, and yoga helps that and all that good stuff. So I was like, okay, I could do that. The card challenge came and I didn't think I had a shot at all. Like, okay, I'm not gonna win this. But I just kept telling myself, like, mentally, take a breath, go slow, and just see what you can do. And it worked out very well. And so I was surprised. And so then when we get to that next challenge of going round and round, um, I don't think I think people would probably be surprised by this, but I am a anxious person. I'm a quite anxious person. And I don't think people would know that, because I'm very outgoing. But I think you could also see that and read that, like having the camera on, was very odd to me for a while. And then when we get into that challenge, and we had no sleep the night before, literally slept maybe 30 minutes. And until you've actually done that and try to function the next day, it is the hardest thing on earth you can possibly do. And then, so we're going through this day, it's emotional. We've done so much. We haven't eaten. We're going through this challenge, and, Ryan and Crystal are out, and then it's Derek and I. And the anxiety and the pressure starts taking over in your head, and you're going, and your arms are starting to get tired. We were out there for maybe like 7 minutes or so, 5 minutes, like somewhere around there. And just as it keeps going, you kind of feel the anxiety like coming in. And I remember Crystal, giving positive, praise. And she's like, you got this, you got this. But it distracted me from the motion, and just the very slightest talk would just slightly move you. And I lost it. And I was just so disappointed, because I was like, man, if I didn't win any of those other challenges and won just that one, it would have been could have been a different story, because Derek would have been out. Like, that was the plan, for one of us to win, and Derek would have been out. But it is what it is, and he pulled through, and he did great. And we both really competed on that one. So
absolutely. So let's talk about Final Tribal Council. Going into it, well, we'll start with the Final Four Fire Making Challenge. Were you expecting him to pick Crystal, or what did you think that was?
Oh, I knew he was throwing me in. I knew he was trying to get rid of me. And I thought he would bring Crystal with him, because I assumed he would think that less people would vote for Crystal because she's a previous survivor, was just my guess. So it just made sense to me that he was going to put Ryan and I in. And I really tried to pitch, hey, you know what? I hope you respect my game. I gave it my all. I did pretty good in my book. If you really want to battle it out with, like, person who took the most comps or whatnot, like, that would be the manly thing to do. I tried to got him into it, right? And he wasn't buying it. And he's like, no, you're going in. And so I wasn't surprised at his move, and I think it was smart.
Yeah. So you obviously, and I thought it was interesting, because there was a lot more that happened with the fire making challenge than what was actually shown.
So glad you didn't show all that.
Yeah, I mean, it was, and even the first one was the first season fire making challenge was a lot. But I won't go into detail, but it was a lot
Mhm.
more extensive and more people were involved than
Yeah.
as you got to see. But
Right.
you won fire making challenge. At that time, did you think, okay, I'm winning this, I have a chance, or were you very?
No. Walking in there, one of my biggest regrets was jury management for sure. But we had 39 hours. Like we did not have time to really dive into, okay, what are we doing next and how is that going to affect me down the line? Like we didn't have time to think down the line. And I think that's was the hardest part. You could feel the jury going in, and I knew I didn't have a shot in hell. And I think that's why I did get emotional at the end because I just gave it my all and really just tried to do my best. And I tried to be myself. And I know I'm loud. I know I'm a lot. And it was really emotional. And I felt shut down before I even walked in there. And that was disappointing to me. Um, because I think as true Survivor fans, if you have watched season 1 through 45 more than once, you have very different glimpses in many different ways. But I will say that the jury is really quite open most of the time. And I didn't feel like we got that. So that was, I think, the most disappointing part to me, not having that open jury.
Yeah. And I think too, like I thought going in it would not be, I wouldn't say they were a bitter jury, but it was very, I mean, the biggest thing is when we got into, I mean, they had the numbers, the yellow tribe, it was 4-3-3. So, I assumed both pink and green would get together and get yellow out, but I mean, it was three in a row, back to back to back. And I'm like, if Derek can manage to keep going and going, then I was like, okay, maybe he has a shot. But if you watch the other interviews, I've said what I would have done, and I feel like had final seven, green and pink still hung on one more and got
Oh,
Derek out and then duked it out at final six, it could have been a lot different of a game because y'all, it was smart to grab him as a fourth and then steamroll
mhm.
the pink tribe, but
Yeah,
then you had that issue at final four.
I
So, I
totally
mean,
agree. Totally agree
obviously,
with you.
I mean, the green three, I mean, y'all made it from the fourth Wayne's boot on. Like y'all were the tightest alliance of the game, other than the pink three. So talk to me a little bit about that group of three and how well y'all work together.
Yeah. Rachel was our first vote off, and we in that I hated doing that. I wanted to get to know her and work with her, and I thought she'd be a really good competitor. And then when we went to our next vote, Crystal and Ryan and I just clicked. And I knew coming in that I needed like those people I trusted. And that you just feel it right away. You know who you can go with and who you can't. And I did think I could go with Wayne, but I knew he just knew too many people and I couldn't trust that. And I knew I was going to give it my all and I had maybe a shot at the competition. So I hated to get rid of Wayne because it was just so much fun. I loved getting to know him. We went out on the kayak, and y'all didn't get this on video, but when we went out on the kayak, Wayne and I get in the kayak and we're up paddling out there. We're in the middle of the intercoastal at this point. And we're like, where are Crystal and Ryan? We look back and they're just nowhere to be found. They're doing circles back on the shore. And we're just sitting there laughing. We're like, oh my God, I can't. We're the worst teammates ever. And so Wayne and I had so much fun getting to know each other. And I hated having him leave. Like that was horrible. But then Crystal and Ryan and I really connected. I really connected with Crystal. We just got each other. And I knew coming in, I am a loud person, a loud personality. I'm a lot. I knew I needed also an alliance member who was opposite of me, who maybe went different angles, had different strategies, who was quieter, who was softer, because that was just going to be complementary. And Ryan and I clicked, and he reminded me a lot of my little brother in many, many ways. And so it just happened naturally. And then we just stuck. And when we merged, I was the first person to say, all right, we got to run the numbers. So we have six if we do green and pink, and then they have five. This makes great sense, right? So I initiated that conversation. And one of the questions that we got at the end, well, it wasn't actually a question, but Angela came up and was going to ask a question and said, something to the tune of, did you guys even mean that you were actually going to work with Pink? Or was that just a lie? And then she didn't give us a chance to respond. She didn't ask. And I was disappointed by that. I wish I had spoken up. I didn't want to be rude and interject. And I wish I had now, because we had 100% full intention of working with Pink the whole way. And we really pretty much did, because we started taking people off. We took like 3 yellows out in a row, right? But then when we started getting down to the numbers, we're having conversation on the flip side. I know exactly what advantages Angela has because of fundraising. I would be stupid to not start knocking those advantages out to give us a lead in the end and just hand it to her. Like, that doesn't make sense. And as a Survivor player and a fan, you got to know the numbers and you got to know when to wipe out your advantages to give yourself a better chance. And I think that was also posed as I wouldn't lie or cheat or steal. And again, it kind of, to me, it comes back to, hey, watch every single season of Survivor, see the evolution. And then that's probably going to be a different conversation, is my opinion. So that was our.
Yeah, I think Final Tribal Council was interesting. I didn't think it was going to be 5-1-1. If anything, I was thinking like 4-2-1. I thought you might be the runner-up, but I think it was a great end to the season. Yes, I mean, things could have done differently or gone differently in your favor, but it was a great way to wrap up season 2. And I mean, I think we all had a lot of fun, but kind of rounding out here, do you have any regrets or anything you wish you would have done? Anything else that you didn't say already?
Well, Shaw, I've had a long time to think about this. So I wish I went out there 20 pounds later. I wish I talked louder. And I wish some of the mic people told me to talk louder, because I went in like full throttle and I was convinced people could hear me. I was like, they can hear me. If I'm going to whisper, I can hear them talking. And that's why you can't hear me so many times. So I wish someone told me to speak up. I wish I was looking one more move ahead for the jury. I wish that happened. And I wish it was longer. I wish I got to play with everyone more, because everyone was just awesome. I really loved everybody. I really, really did.
I tried to give y'all as much time to talk, but y'all towards like final 6, y'all refused to go to your camp. And I'm like, but y'all need time to talk, or it's just going to be a steamroll. Like,
you were right. You were right.
Flip, Crystal, flip, somebody. Like, I'm like, go to camp and talk. I mean,
I know. Yes. And you know what? I was hoping Nicole would come with us, because I thought I could do something with Nicole. I really was. And she wasn't leaving her alliance, which I totally respect. But I think we could have gotten her, and I think we could have gotten Derek out. And she was like in it to win it as well. And I think she could have advanced even further. And I was sad that she didn't, but is what it is.
Yeah. So anyways, all right. So any last thoughts before we wrap this up?
No, you just did an amazing job with the Shaw, the production, everybody who supported raising the money for this camp. We just need more humans like you in the world, and then I'll leave it at that.
Well, thank you. And again, thank you for playing and all your hard work in and out of the season. And you got to help with camp a day or two this year. I hope to see you and your kids at camp this year.
Can't wait. Looking forward to it.
All right. Well, I've got to hop on to the next interview now, but I will see everybody shortly for the next one.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Absolutely. All right. Bye.